Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you very much for joining me here. Hope you're having an amazing day. We're going to take another look here, of course, at Bitcoin, help you understand what's going to happen next, and maybe draw out some new Fibonacci retracement levels, as well as just kind of take a look at some liquidation levels and really some important stuff. Also got a really cool update regarding BitGet Exchange. That is one of our favorite for our communities, of course, because they offer a usually anywhere between $4,000 to $10,000 prize pool every single month. And congrats again to my members here recently that qualified. Got some nice profit and loss ratios there from these three members. Again, I sent out an update to our community here recently regarding that, but fantastic stuff. Keep really great work. I'm really impressed with how amazing my community has become. So just really cool part of my life. Thank you again so much for being as awesome as you are. What we're going to do is take a look again, of course, at some Fibonacci retracement levels. We might draw out some new ones here. If we take a look, we can go ahead and pull this down and kind of see roughly what that's telling us, because the previous ones tell us a lot about support and resistance levels, right? We've already disseminated that 23,200 and 24,000 are key levels. If we take a look here, though, of course, we can kind of see furthermore that we are looking at a situation here where we've got a descending trend. 24,000 is obviously still a Fibonacci retracement level right there at 0.5. And we got this 0.382 at 23,700, proving to be a resistance zone. Okay, so kind of some stuff here that we've known for a little while, but it's good to kind of reiterate and reaffirm the fact that we're on the right track here in the sense that we understand what's happening. Okay, and the overall sentiment is still fairly bearish in the most recent time frame. And what we want to do is take a look at HyblockCapital and kind of see really what's going on there as well. That kind of will help us with liquidation levels and a whole lot of different stuff, of course. So this is a fantastic tool, something I'm going to be bringing to my community here soon as an option or potentially an additional feature. We're still kind of brainstorming there, but we have some API bots we can connect to our Discord at the very least. It might be a really cool function. Regardless, at that point, if we take a look at liquidation levels, keep in mind this is for 7 days. So I like to look back 7 days, a full week's worth of trading here. Kind of give us perspective that we have a lot of support in the 22,600 to 23,000 range. Pretty much as expected, right? Those Fibonacci retracement levels. And big surprise, a lot of liquidations at 24,000 or higher. So we can tell right now that we're range bound between 23 is a rough estimate and 24,000. Okay, so keeping in mind, buying the dip in this regard, in some cases until we break above or below is a positive thing. Again, same thing as well with shorting the top too. So we got a lot of resistance in or above and below this current range that we're in right now. Okay, so that's something to note. When it comes to options here, or open interest rather, we can go ahead and take a look. Let's take a quick peek at the open longs here in the last 12 hours. We can see a lot of long positions are open here at this level at about 23,400. So that's just above the current price point right now. Okay, we can also see for shorts, they are really close to above that level, really close to about 23,300. Okay, so the overall narrative here is that shorts are likely to continue or has a little bit more bearing right now. That's the mindset that people are in. Because if you take a look here, we can see the delta here for longs, basically long liquidation levels, so you can tell there it is higher. Therefore, more liquidations are occurring to the downside. So shorts are getting liquidated. Correction, longs are getting liquidated. And if we take a look here, of course, we can kind of see that there is a decent amount of long positions that are getting hit pretty hard here in the last week. Okay, so overall, the general sentiment here is bearish because we got a lot of a majority of liquidations are occurring for long positions versus short positions. That just kind of tells us the inverse applies there, where you're more likely to be successful on the way down than you are the way up right now. Okay, that's generally what it's telling us here. So again, good stuff, good data. What does that mean here for the charts? Well, let's go ahead and find out. Taking a look at the RSI, we see 50 on the RSI getting retested again. The more often you retest a support level, the more likely it is to break. Okay, same thing with a resistance level too. Same thing occurs, but you got to keep in mind too that we've done this previously as well, where we broke actually down below 50 on the RSI and then ramped right back up. Okay, about 5 days later. I'm not saying we're going to repeat that exact behavior, but we are coincidentally 5 days into this decline. Okay, so and a lot of times taking a lot of volume at a specific price point will allow for you to continue in the right direction. Okay, so in this here, what we can see is there's a lot of volume accumulating at this previous price point, which is right here at the rough estimate of about 23,500. And if we take a look at the volume profile, we can see that there is a lot of volume in this range. Okay, so we are still seeing a nice amount of volume support. Okay, so regardless of the narrative right now being mostly bearish and everybody wanting to short, it's a great chance we could see a short squeeze to the upside if the price were to break that 24,000 mark. Again, key word is if. We don't know that's going to happen yet. There's definitely no guarantees, but generally speaking, we're range bound between 23 and 24. So until we break above or below, that's essentially the situation right now. So if you're going to have a stop loss in place, put them just above or just below those levels to ensure that you don't get you don't get wrecked on if the price were to run. Okay, because again, we could very well see something like that, but at this point, we got some support in range, right? We also can see here, if we take a look at the simple moving averages, 50 on the moving average here, basically, the SMA 50 is telling us that we are still above that support level, okay? So even though we're kind of traveling above and below the 20, the 50 is essentially adding that support. We also have a nice support range here at about 20,000 as well as a close approximate for the 200-day SMA is at. So heaven forbid the price comes down that far, we should see some type of support at 19.7/20,000. Just giving you the big picture there. Speaking of big picture, let's quickly take a quick peek at the monthly, okay? Quick peek at the quick time frame here, right? So we're going to take a look, and we can see that 50 on the RSI is still getting tested on the MACD for the monthly. Okay, we're starting to see that shift though in momentum, right? So if we see here, the price is coming up, whereas the price is essentially continuing to converge, so to speak. So in a few more months, we could very well see that swing to the upside. Okay, so again, mostly positive here in the sense of the monthly, but the truth is that we did close the monthly here with a doji candle. Okay, now typically when you see a doji candle close on any time frame, the price will turn itself around. So there's a decent chance we could see a red month based on that sentiment, but it's hard to say specifically. That doesn't necessarily imply that it's going to just turn around. Doji candles are like 60-70% probabilities. Okay, so again, just because we see that one thing on the one time frame doesn't imply that we're extremely bearish, but that could tell us that we might see a reversal in the relative near future, and we might see a red month in the month of March. Okay. Furthermore, on the weekly, we can go ahead and see as well here, if I recall correctly, we are getting rejected at the 50-day RSI, as well as, no correction, I'm sorry, I misspoke. The 50-day simple moving average is essentially rejecting the price action, and the RSI is holding above 50. So fairly conflicting, but generally speaking, we've got a resistance zone at about 25,000. So once again, as I've mentioned before, if we break 24K, 25,000 will essentially be a strong resistance level. So try not to go too long, too far. You may want to consider taking profits at 25 if we get up to that level, because there's a decent chance we'll reject off of that initially. All right, so that's the general big picture here. What does the midterm here tell us for the 4-hour? Well, we can see we are establishing still, not great, but still higher lows. So until that changes, we can assume the price will continue to progress upwards slowly. We do have this type of ascending channel that we can see here that is continuing upwards. But a lot of times when the price does start from up here, it'll oftentimes work its way down. Okay, so again, we're getting rejected off this resistance channel, you could say, or more importantly, this descending trend that's keeping the price action in place. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here next. It does feel like the price wants to continue to break down lower based on that sentiment. Again, these are just lines on a chart, right? But at the end of the day, you can kind of see, in truth, the bulls are having difficulty getting past this 24,000 mark, and every single time we get up there, the bears reject it out. And as we continue to make higher highs and higher lows, but we're still in a descending trend, that's where the flag pattern emerges. Okay, so bear flag potentially for the win, depending on which direction you're trading. Okay, we will see. But we are below 50 on the RSI, and we are starting to diverge on the MACD, so there's a decent chance we are going to see further downside here based on that sentiment. Taking a look at the 1 hour, though, this is where things get kind of interesting. I'm willing to speculate we're getting overextended in certain ways here. So we can see, even though we are making higher lows tentatively, okay, that's positive. Not great, but positive. We can see we're hitting a 9 on TD sequential, and we're at a 6 right now. So we have potential of 3 more hours to the downside. If this 3 hours is very, very bearish and we close below 23,000 today, I think there's a solid chance we will see further downside. But we got to allow for this higher low to continue potentially and see where that goes. If we take a look at the cloud, I'm fairly certain we're underneath it, which we are still. So just keep this in mind. We are working below a resistance level, lagging spans free and clear of the price action, conversion line below the baseline. So, most signs point down for the moment, okay? That's another reason why, if you're part of my community, you haven't seen me open any positions right now. While I do short from time to time, I try to avoid that because there's higher risk involved. And when I'm trading for a large community, I'd prefer not to take a lot of risky trades. So I do apologize for the lack of signals here, but I can tell you it's for a good reason, okay? We're basically waiting for confirmation. We can get a solid closure today in the 23.5 range. I think I'd feel much better about this. But at this point, we are still making lower lows in the general time frame here. If you look at the most recent 12 to 24 hours, and we can see that we are fairly bearish on the 4-hour too. So most signs are pointing fairly down right now. I'd say we have probably about a 60% probability of further downside. And obviously there's a handful of other things too as well, with an RSI divergence and potential bounce. A lot of things that could happen, but I would say for the most part, I'm leaning more towards the price coming down a little further before it comes back up again. Okay, so just something to kind of think about. That is essentially where we're at here. Hopefully that was informative and beneficial for you. Again, if you want a whole lot more resources and an amazing community to back you up, CryptoCash.tech is a site, link down below. We do have a free week trial here for our signals, as well as just generally speaking, a positive, amazing environment. And we have some awesome traders. So keep up the good work, everyone. Greatly appreciate it. Oh, also congratulations to Compulse for being the community member of the month. Very well done. Be sure to reach out to me for that cash prize there, and I'll be sure to get that over to you soon. Let me know. I look forward to working with you. Again, if you're not currently a community member, have a great rest of your day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.